Let's begin with the disturbing news about rising insecurity in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja. A young lady identified as Najeebah has been killed by gunmen who abducted her and 5 other sisters on the 9th of January in Abuja after releasing the father to go and get 60 million naira ransom for the release of the daughters by Friday, the 12th of January. The bandits killed the eldest girl, Najeebah, when money could not be raised. Kolawole, this is disturbing. Federal Capital Territory, insecurity.
I don't know how to take the news. It's sudden, especially when you have a father who has trained a daughter to that level and was caught off at the prime, a student of a university. It's sad, and unfortunately, we didn't get here in one day. We have a track. We have on the same program. I can't remember the number of times we have talked about this issue, right from 2015-16, and unfortunately, last year the ICIR published a report that traced the numbers of victims of kidnapping in Nigeria. And from 2013, when we had just about 31 cases, that got worse in 2014, that went about 150%, more. And to 2021, when we got to that, terrible height, that we had a total of 590 cases of kidnapping, reported kidnapping in Nigeria, with over 5,300 victims. That same year, we had about 5,900 victims of violent killings within 6 months in Nigeria. And, we ask some questions at times that how did we get here, that kidnapping, took a life of its own, and some criminals built a criminal economic enterprise around it. Just like you have some people who are building, economic life around many other vices, whether pipeline vandalization and others. Some, they have turned this one to business, that they build their economy around it. And unfortunately, I remember sometimes in 2017, right on this same program, I think you were still on that building then that was burnt down. And we took these cases. A young man was caught, not young, Evans. And the way the thing, we glamorized the news at some point, that some police officers were taking pictures with the guy. And the news media were saying, oh, the billionaire kidnapper, the benevolent kidnapper. And I warned that time on this same program. I'm sure we can get the tape. I did an analysis on that too, independently, where I warned Nigeria that the way we were glamorizing that news, we're making kidnapping so attractive. And we're doing what you call in communication theory disinhibition. Now, you were desensitizing him of the ills, of the negativity around it, or thinking, okay, it can be accepted as long as you have the money and you are generous. Even they say he was generous to his neighbors. So I want that time, that a time may come that we won't be able to handle this again. It will become like a general thing. And that even the places you think would not be affected will be affected. I remember this, honestly. And it is saddening today that we're not even deviating from that part. See, we are in this job. We know that agenda setting theory is important in managing whatever crisis. Of course, we have some very terrible administrative flaws in Nigeria, whereby we don't attend to issues in time until they become crisis. And you and I know that issues that are not attended to in time would naturally snowball into crisis. So that we did when this started, whether in form of some doing that for small money in some few places, or those who graduated from banditry to this, from Boko Haram to this, but we did not nip this in the bud in good time. That is how we got here.
Now it's something that is thriving and prevalent in the Federal Capital Territory.
Exactly. If you look at for some weeks now, about last year, we've been trying to do reports around it. We were just thinking it was just armed robber You know,
One chance.
Yeah, it started with one chance, you know. So from the one chance now, it has, just like he said, it has now it's becoming a cancer. It's growing from one chance and it's becoming kidnapping. And not just one particular spot. It is even happening. Some days back, I was talking to somebody.
It's
now going into Asokoro itself. They said they even kidnap in Asokoro. So by the time they start kidnapping in Asokoro, it will move very close to where Aso Rock is, you know. And it's like the police, they don't even know how to tackle this matter. We know that, okay, the FCT minister has been demolishing houses and all that around just to bring the original master plan in place. But that shouldn't mean that they should not also think about the insecurity that will come with that. Because some people will say, it's because I don't have a place, so I need to do this. But that shouldn't. So that is why, if they are going ahead demolishing houses and all that, they must also find a way to make sure that those who they are demolishing houses are keeping them in a shelter, at least a temporary shelter for some reasons. Because as we stand now, Ayo, we are having a very big problem in our hands. Nobody is talking about how this problem will be solved. Because from Buhari now, it will move to Gwagwalada, it will move to other council areas. And those in Abuja, they will tell you that everything is okay, but it's not okay. There are some people who can't walk out, they can't go out in the night again in Abuja, you know. So before you know it, there will be private security, people will look for private security.
BQ, how did we get here? Abuja on the siege.
Banditry grew steadily in our country, and we didn't do enough to defeat it. That's why we found ourselves in this situation. And there is concrete evidence that some of the terrorists that were dislodged from the northeast, where we have considerable calm, considerable improvement, especially in Borno State, have now moved down to the north central and are now in Abuja. When I raised the alarm that Shekau's faction, part of them had moved to Niger State and even celebrated Salah in one of the forests of Niger State. Many people didn't take me seriously. They felt I was raising an alarm. They felt I was not highlighting the successes recorded by the military. But today, whether we like it or not, terrorists have morphed into bandit groups. There is now a very thin line. In fact, it's difficult to differentiate between terrorists and bandits in our country. They operate basically with the same idiosyncrasies, with the same modus operandi. So you can see the level of sophistication, the kind of weapons at their disposal. Those who tried to rescue these guys were killed, including one of the relations of the Kadria sisters. So I think that there is an urgent need for the FCT minister to focus on improving security in his domain. His attention has been Rivers, as if he's the minister of Rivers State. He has to focus on how to defeat this insecurity in the FCT, because things will get worse. They are operating in the satellite towns along the border with Kaduna and Niger states. But if they feel unchallenged, if we allow them to continue to operate with relative ease and success, they will come deeper into Abuja. And at that time, maybe that's when we will start running from pillar to post. For now, they are even raiding people's homes, breaking into people's houses and kidnapping people. They are tired of staying on the highways and kidnapping people and moving them into the forest. I want to say something by way of advice to the president. if he does not defeat insecurity, if he records successes in other spheres of our national life, people will behave like the president has achieved nothing. I warned the immediate past president about this, but they didn't listen. They took security too lightly. President Tinubu promised to give us forest rangers to secure our forests. We have forests across our country. We have some forests so large that they are bigger than many towns put together. Look at Niger State, the largest state in our country. There are so many states, so many forests linking one another in the northwest. In fact, bandits can move from Niger State to Kebbi State through the forests. So you can imagine moving all the way from Niger to Kebbi State through those forests. How do we deal with a situation like this? The president made a promise that he will recruit forest rangers. This is the time to do it because everyone who gets kidnapped is moved into a forest. They don't move them into hotels. They don't move them into communities close to the places where they kidnap those people. It is those ungoverned spaces, those forests, that they move our people to. So there's an urgent and pressing need to secure those forests. And the president has the game plan. He has the plan to secure those forests. This is the time to unleash that plan. If we don't do it quickly, we'll be in trouble, and the things will get worse.
All right.